Vikings, let's stand up. Let's stand up. You know what time it is. This is a long season. One game won't determine who win and who will lose the Super Bowl, but you already know what time it is. So it's time for SKOL check-in.
That it is.
SKOL check-in time. Bengals recap. Vikings lose 27-24 in overtime. A back and forth ball game from start to finish. Very, very entertaining. But of course, you want to be on the right side of that dub. Most importantly for you, Pat, first game in a Vikings uniform, regular season. What did it feel? How did it feel putting on that number 7? Because preseason you didn't play. You didn't put on the uniform, fully in a game like action. You know what I mean? But what did it feel like for you? You in 10 seasons in the National Football League, you had one color, you had one jersey number. Now all of a sudden you're in a new color, a new jersey number. How did it feel for you?
Felt pretty good. I felt like I moved around pretty well. I feel like I didn't have many opportunities to make plays, but as far as my movements and the positions that I was in, if the ball was thrown my way, I was able to, possibly get a PBU or interception. For the most part, man, everything was great. Obviously, like you said, I wish we would have came on the right side of that dub, but we didn't. But I feel good about the team. I feel good about the defense. Just a couple of things that, we got to clean up. Obviously we don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot, creating so many offensive fouls in the midst of drives and things like that. You never want to start behind the chains. It's hard enough to get a first as it is with normal first downs and 10s. So, we just have to clean up those couple mistakes. I think the future is very bright for us, but we got to continue to go out there and prove it, because, obviously last week we didn't play up to our part, to come out on top of this game. But like you said, it's a long season. We got 4 weeks to go, and I can't wait to see how the team and the guys are going to respond.
Yeah, talking about the season, man, very, very questionable calls happening in that flow of that ball game. And two things I would like to highlight: the Justin Jefferson touchdown that wasn't a touchdown because they said he was down. Right. And then, of course, Dalvin Cook ended up scoring on the next play, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And then later in the game in overtime, Dalvin Cook clearly looked like he was more down than Justin Jefferson was. And they said he wasn't. And, of course, that fumble led to another opportunity, another possession for the Cincinnati Bengals. Knowing where you were on the football field, you didn't get a chance to get all the different angles that I was able to see as a fan, and most of our listeners and viewers that are watching us that were not at the game. But did you think it was actually a fumble?
The visiting team do a great job of not giving us the the footage on the jumbotron. So
you mean the home team?
Yeah, the home team. Well, I'm sorry. The home team, they don't do a good job of showing close calls like that. Don't want to. I don't know what the rhyme or reason for that, but I think we got one good shot of it, and we couldn't tell because the camera view was blocking. The next thing you know, they turned it off, and end up the review ended up continuing to go under review, and it came back and said that it stands because it wasn't clear enough evidence that the runner was down, and I think because on the sideline, it looked like he was down for everything. The ball popped out, what I mean? And I was like, he got to be down because he was laying down, and next thing you know, the ball ended up coming out.
Yes.
So, but they called it a fumble, and ultimately we end up giving up a couple plays to lose the game late in overtime with a field goal.
Yeah, that was, man, listen, it was so confusing because, like I said, Justin Jefferson ran that dig route, broke a few tackles. They said he was down, right? And if you watch the instant replay from different angles, he wasn't down. So took away a touchdown, gave touchdown. Granted, Dalvin Cook came in. But in overtime, it was obvious that he was down. And that led to the fumble. And we all know one thing about football: the ground cannot cause a fumble. And for the referees to have so many different angles to be able to review, the replay committee or whoever it is, overseeing that part of the ball game, for them to get that wrong, clearly is a huge mistake. You know what I mean? So you can't allow referees to dictate the ball game. That's why you can't leave it in their hands, because sometimes they will get things wrong. You know what I mean? And they definitely got that wrong. Let's transition to overtime. Defense gets back on the football field. What went wrong in the Bengals' fourth down conversion? Number one, that was a gutsy call.
Right.
Gutsy call. We saw a few gutsy calls from Cincinnati, from Zach Taylor and his crew there, but that was a gutsy call because that was at midfield, 4th and 1, lined up in a running like formation, play action, converted a 32-yard pass to CJ. Coach Zimmer said you guys had practice against that practice for that play during the week of practice, but what went wrong on that fourth down conversion?
Well, in that situation with it being literally 4th and 2 to 3 inches,
Yeah.
thinking quarterback sneak, a couple timeouts, get the easy first down and be able to call a timeout, regroup, and, call up a couple plays to get them in field goal range. But like you said, it was a gutsy call. It was definitely a gutsy call, and kudos to the Bengals coaching staff for pulling that off at the right time, because obviously, we just stopped them, I believe, 2 series ago, 4th and 1. On their 30-yard line. So you're thinking now it's 4th and a couple inches, and Joe did convert a 4th and 1 with the quarterback sneak. You got to be thinking quarterback sneak.
Yeah.
So it was a great call by them, and we did practice that play. But it was just a great call. It was great timing.
No question. Yeah. Hey, that's the thing. When you look at the percentage of seeing a pass or run in that situation, especially with a young quarterback, you're thinking run. And you talk about having Joe Mixon, not necessarily handing the ball off to the running back, just leaning forward.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just to get that 3-4 inch mark that you need to get the first down. But yeah, they went all in on that play. So that's the thing about those plays. If you roll a dice and you hit, everyone's going to applaud you. If you roll a dice and you miss, what are you doing?
Right.
You know what I mean? They're going to be so critical, but it worked in their favor and led to that game-winning field goal. And when you look at game takeaways in overtime, specifically speaking, what were the biggest turning points you think in overtime?
Honestly, I thought overtime was played well by the defense. Special teams did a great job of
no question. Yeah. Pinning them back.
It just came down to, who was going to get the best field position possible to put them in position to win. And, ultimately the fumble ended up, putting the Bengals in the best starting field position in overtime, and ultimately end up winning the ball game. Yeah,
no doubt. And when you look at defense, kind of up and down a little bit. I tell you this much pass wise, you guys only gave up 217 yards, but on the ground, 149. The defense did have 5 sacks, clearly going in the right direction. What the number I predicted was 60. I think I predicted 60 for the defense, had 5 sacks. Joe Mixon had a huge day though, 29 rushes for 127, a touchdown, 4 receptions, and 23 receiving yards. On pace to 65. That was my prediction for sacks, 65. Joe Burrow he was 20 of 27, 261, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So, kind of, mixed reviews a little bit defensively. I thought against the ground and pound attack would be a little more stout, but yet and still came through in the clutch with 5 sacks. Overall defensive assessment, first time being out here with the guys, kind of having everybody all in one. And you're still missing a few pieces. If I'm not mistaken, Barr didn't play, right? Anthony Barr didn't play. He's a huge piece to the puzzle, but not having him in the lineup, but yet and still haven't had everybody else in the lineup. What was your thoughts based on already seeing the film, knowing some things you guys could have done better? Overall assessment based on the defensive performance.
I thought it was a great first outing. I mean, clean up a couple mistakes here and there. Everybody being on the same page. Playing their roles to the best of their ability. But we have, like I always said, I think we have a lot of potential. Now we just have to continue going out there, continue gelling, continue trending in the right direction to where we can go out there and put it on tape. Because that's all that matters, putting it on tape. You know what I mean? So I think we have the potential to do great things throughout the season. I'm just excited and intrigued to see how we're going to respond. Because one thing that one of the wise men once told me, good teams don't lose 2 in a row. To gather the troops, lick your wounds,
question.
Go out there and scratch and claw out a victory in your next go round. So that's our goal, and we're going to see if we're a good team or not.
Offensively, Captain Kirk looked pretty good. over 300 yards, 350 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yo, I had Adam Thielen on. I have him on one of my fantasy teams, and man, I had the Adam Thielen and Tyreek Hill on the same team.
Oh man,
9 receptions, 92 yards, and a touchdown. All Adam Thielen does is catch touchdowns. He gonna catch him some touchdowns. Oh, he caught 2. My bad. Yes, 2. Gave me great fantasy production, and because of that, in that league, I am 1-0. KJ Osborne looked pretty solid at the number 3 option, wide receiver option. 7 catches for 76 yards. Penalties definitely was an issue. 12 penalties for over 100 yards, 113 to be exact. Offensive line struggled a bit, but the offense kind of picked things up when they needed to. The same can be said for the defense. Something to build on going forward because you didn't get the best outing from your all-pro running back in Dalvin Cook, but throwing the football, you know, they took some shots and made some shots. So clearly being able to be a little more balanced would be huge for the growth of the offense when you look at Minnesota led by Kirk Cousins. So that's a plus. Pat P, you didn't get a lot of action. I watched the game and it was almost like, is he even playing? You didn't see a lot of action.
Well, Focus thought I did. That's why I don't like that stuff. Because
what they got? What they got wrong?
They said I gave up 3 catches for 30 yards. Last time,
that's what PFF said.
I gave up 1 catch for 3 yards to a screen.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I know that they're talking about 85. I was in cover 2, so that's not my assignment. So
yeah, you playing an area. You're not playing a man in cover 2.
With these, gurus, that you can clearly see it's a too high safety that I'm going to the flats. So how's that my guy? So that's why I don't understand. That's why I don't understand the grades that they give out. What certain guys have.
But my thing is this though, Pat. It's hard to give a guy a grade when you don't know exactly what he's supposed to do, what his assignment is. Now you start assuming. But also, you just made a good point.
That's what fans look at. That's what fans, they treat that, like Eric said, shout out to Eric, they treat that like the Bible. Like these guys who's putting out these numbers know exactly what's going on when they don't. Some of the things that they do put out, yeah, it may be accurate. But as far as when it comes to certain coverages, certain blocking schemes, like put out the right stuff. Because at the end of the day, if so many people are looking at this saying, oh, this is, what a guy is, of what Pro Football Focus is saying. Mm-hmm. Put out the right stuff and really do your due diligence before you go out and put out certain numbers of things that guys did for other people to say, this guy gave up. Like you said, I didn't give up no action. I didn't even, like you said,
anytime I saw man-to-man, and for me personally, granted, it's a little easier for me because I played in the secondary. I can tell when it's man-to-man based on the linebackers or the safeties. That's all I need to see. 100%. I don't even need to see the corners. When I see how they're aligned, how they're moving, I know if it's man-to-man, if it's quarters, if it's 3, if it's 2, if it's 7, if it's 1, it don't matter. But I'm looking at them like, well, dang, freak is what Pat at? I said, what my guy at? I ain't see no action, like just no action, especially in the second half. But that's a sign of respect. It's definitely a sign of respect. But you're right. Pro PFF, sometimes they just, I don't know. And my thing is this. My little boy who's 8 know when he sees 2 high safeties, this is our hand signal for flag football. I'm the coach. So, I call defensive plays, Pat P. I don't yell. I give hand signals to my guy. My 8-year-olds, my 3rd graders that's out there. Yeah, I got hand signals. Anytime I give them a hand signals, they know what it is. We cover 2. You know what I mean? We this is strong. This fall out blitz. I give 4. That's quarters. We playing quarters. You know what I mean? Cover 3. You know what I mean? So we did hand signals. So if my little boy know what 2 high safeties look like, he know that had to be some type of 2 shell.
Right.
So you would think that guys who get paid top money to be able to assess and give these quality grades are too high, man. He covering a space. He's not covering a man. That's what I tell my 3rd graders. You playing quarters. You guys know what 4th of the field is, right? No, they didn't know. I had to break down. Y'all should know what quarters is. You covering a 4th of the field.
Right. And you can clearly see me rerouting this guy, dropping backwards. Literally dropping backwards. And then obviously Joe ultimately made the throw for him to go for however many yards. But
it is what it is. But you know what? Hey, they're going to be, as long as they're more wrong than right, and you more right than wrong. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.